they can oftentimes feel a little lackluster, especially in low levels. And given that this is a fairly low level campaign, we're like 2 years into it and we just hit level 7. You can't have a class that feels terrible at low levels if you're going to be spending the entire campaign at low levels. So we changed it, and it basically is like a wild magic monk that is built around the idea of protecting their friends. And it is fantastic. And it has been a lot of fun to revisit and go after. An active project in the electronics land is a keyboard shaped like a paw, and we're doing a custom PCB and setting it up with QMK and doing all the 3D modeling, etc., etc. Um, I think I might actually have some D2s that might be worth sending out of the house here shortly. We'll see how well they polish up. To I can't remember which way it went first, but basically at the end of the day, the joke was that it was a character, Mas Ombrou, very much homebrew, and our goal became trying to get them to say Ombrou on stream, and we actually managed to make them do it, which was phenomenal and hilarious because they were not a very nice person. They were a bad DM, and basically shortly after that campaign ended, they pretty much saw themselves out of every possible community, which was hilarious. So yes, Ombrou is what if that was home damage against the monsters guy. Thanks, Ariel. Welcome in. Lovely to see you. We're sanding dice today because we've got an in-person sale on the weekend. And we're trying to get some stuff ready. Currently, we're talking about Killjoy DMs and novelty dice. But yeah, like, so the thing is like, my player asked me if they could reskin Fireball to be psychic damage, and if you look, you know, from a sheer statistics standpoint, then what we do is Ombrou, because it's very clearly different, and, yeah, so we ended up, like, one of my favorite pieces of Homebrew is probably the Way of the Bob Monk, which was a lot of fun. Carrot is playing a Furbolg Monk in the Witchlight campaign. And, yeah, Ombrou is a joy making things ridiculous, right? What does Ombrou mean to you? It's the feeling in your heart. But, yeah, like for instance, Carrot's monk subclass that we created for them is... Carrot wanted to play monk because monks are, in theory, really cool. it basically means that if I want to be able to hear anything in OBS, I have to have my sounds turned right up, and then if anything outside of OBS plays, then I get my ears blown out, which is always fun. Explain Ombrou. In how much detail, Carrot? I mean, realistically, it's not like the parties involved are watching this stream, so I could probably actually be a little bit more specific. So, basically, a friend of ours was in a D&D campaign that was being streamed. Two of our friends, actually. One of them ended up dropping out of the campaign for very good reasons. But the other hung around, and it was a painfully bad campaign. That sounds super fun. We just recently fought a big boss in our Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign, which was a lot of fun as well. And the party really did a fantastic job of divide and conquer, where my player spent the entire time destroying the equipment that was making them powerful. Carrot's character got in melee and just tied them up, and they kept summoning minions, and everybody else was like, no, I don't think you're allowed to have minions. And the DM after the fact is like, it's cool. We do all sorts of random stuff here. We do 3D printing, we do dice making, we do electronics and engineering. We're currently partway through that is a chonk dice. A very pretty one at that. Yeah, it's this very pearly, teal, pinky situation. Very, very pretty. So outside of this, our current um, it is a fairly big balance change because fire is resisted by the most creatures in the game, right? Um, as a result of that, that means that on average, they will do more damage to any given random monster in the game, which seems like a potentially big deal. However, I don't know about your games. I'm not pulling random monsters from the from the monster manual. I'm not grabbing random monsters. I'm creating my encounters. So it doesn't matter what random monsters or any aggregation of monsters is resistant to. And also, I make the rules. Guess what? That ancient dragon, yeah, they were bullied as a kid and grew up. The DM was not very good. They didn't really know what they were doing. And they just had the book open and were reading from it. And you could tell that they never actually read the module ahead of time, because they also had a reading voice when you could tell that they were very clearly reading out of the book. And we made a point of saying, like, oh, hey, you know, like, because they claimed that, you know, oh, the players do whatever they want and things go crazy and everything like that. And we're like, yeah, but dude, you've been playing this, like, by the book. It's like, oh, no. I've homebrewed the shit out of this campaign. They're like, you do realize we have the book open in front of us, right? Oh, well, I want to work with my players so that they have the most fun possible. And there's not even really tournaments in D&D. Like, there's Adventurers League play, but that's not even really tournament. That's just that's just group play that's been organized by modules organized by Wizards of the Coast. And those modules suck, I would like to say. They're terrible, and I never want to run one or play in one. But, like, there isn't really well, I guess that means that you you MK for 5 minutes and missed a bonk. Follow the Franco. Welcome in, Franco. Good to see you. But basically, they were talking about how, you know, they homebrewed the shit out of this game, and we laughed at the fact that no, you haven't. You haven't changed anything. And it became one of those things that was a bit of a meme, right? Is, you know, you got homebrew, and then that ended up turning into Songs of the Spellbound Sea. Yeah, I backed a module called Songs of the Spellbound Sea, which is super interesting and is largely, go figure, based around piracy and pirates and pirate crews and the like. What's my favorite piece of homebrew to date? Great question. Those are a little lifted. I did not push that lid down hard enough. That one's better. Favorite piece of homebrew to date? Looking at it, switching from fire damage over to psychic is actually a fairly substantial balance shift within a certain aspect. Now, the reason I say it's a balance shift is specifically because fire is one of the most... it is the most resisted elemental damage in the game. Once you discount, like piercing, bludgeoning, slashing from non-magical types. Fire is resisted by the most creatures. Okay. So switching from fire over to psychic, those people are now is designed for keeping the party alive for some first-time players. And Twilight Clerics are particularly good at that. They are very, very, very strong at... they have some auras that allow people to max out healing, and they've got... they have an aura that maxes healing and also gives 10 hit points every round. And that's a passive thing that doesn't need to be re-upped or anything, so it's a pretty strong piece overall. Yeah, and then Carrot kept running away, which is fine. Whatever. But thing is not always the easy part to balance for. Like, for instance, one of my players, they have a character who's a sorcerer, which basically means to be viable, they largely should probably have Fireball, right? They're a forest fae. They're a fairy. Fireball is a little bit horrific in their view, but they're all about manipulation and illusion and stuff like that. So they asked me if we could reskin Fireball to be psychic instead. And there was, so there was the question of like, can we make it a different damage type? Because doing fire damage isn't really what my character would do. And had a lovely